It's my pleasure to introduce Dan Bowen from Microsoft.
Hi, everybody. All the people who are really hungry and desperate for lunch, you can't go because you've got to listen to me now. Woohoo! I work for Microsoft. I'm a technology strategist. That's Flight Simulator in the background there. I'm going to share with you some innovations and projects we are doing, and also share with you some of the skills that we're seeing, or the skills that are actually lacking in Australia at the minute, and areas of opportunity for you, and where you can learn more about things. It's really interesting. I'll put some Q&A time at the end. You can ask me anything. Somebody asked about quantum computing earlier on. Somebody asked about other aspects of cloud. Happy to answer any of your questions, even if I don't cover them in this presentation. So, that's Flight Simulator going on there. Running in the cloud, running in Azure. If you hear the word Azure, that's the Microsoft cloud, okay? That's where all the AI and data, ChatGPT, and all that kind of stuff is running at the minute, okay? In our servers. Now, this is a very boring slide, but it's quite important. These are skills that the ACS reported 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, they did a report, and they talked about things that are quite important in terms of jobs. Lots of people have been talking to you today about things like security, networking, hardware, AI, machine learning. A lot of those are in here, okay? The other thing is to think about certifying yourself, right? The problem we've got in education generally is that, your curriculums don't move quick enough for technology, right? They move very, very quickly. So what you need to think about is where you can learn yourself, where you can do self-paced learning, and where you can get certifications yourself, so that when you go for a job, right, you can actually show them your CV and say, yeah, I've got this certification. So it's really important. AI, they talked about earlier on when they talked about building bots. Azure is the cloud. Security came up quite a lot. Cloud security comes up quite a lot. So have a look at that report. So let's put some life on this, right? There's lots of case studies happening in Australia where we are using AI and data and machine learning and all kinds of things. And I'm running through a couple of these, and I keep adding to these every year when we do these presentations. This is Kakadu. We use drone technology using the Azure cloud to actually manage different wild geese that are migrating and look at the habitats that are actually being lost there. Because when the grass gets lost up in the areas of Kakadu, then the geese don't migrate, and there's a knock-on effect to their entire ecosystem up there. So use drone technology and AI, right? Turtles, drone technology and AI to check feral pigs going up and down in Cape York. And then we can actually, because they're eating the eggs of the turtles, which are on the Great Barrier Reef, right? So use drones to do that. You can't go up manually to do that kind of stuff. Darwin Harbour. You can't go into the water in Darwin Harbour because you'll get eaten by crocodiles. So there's underwater cameras. They use artificial intelligence and facial recognition to identify fish and count fish stocks in the water there. The police, when you're thinking about a police investigation these days, it's more than just, were you at the scene of a crime? Where's your WhatsApp? Where were you with your GPS on your mobile phone? What about your car? What about using your bank card? You've got to correlate now thousands of pieces of information to actually solve cases and crimes. So we're working with the New South Wales Police and Western Australian Police on that. We're doing applications using AI for the NBA. So they've got applications to bring consumers in on that area. Because if you think about Microsoft, a lot of the stuff we do is called in enterprise, but a lot of stuff is in consumer land, like Xbox and things like that. So this is in consumer land where we help in the NBA interact with their fans, right, via apps, bringing real-time stats and stuff like that. Also in the background of all the games that people are talking about, right, like this say here is Forza, right? Now in the background of that, there's a lot of cloud technology running AI, rendering, graphics and the like, putting lots of data storage in there, managing multiplayer games and the like. So I'll show you a little video about Sea of Thieves in a minute and how that's all managed. But really, really interesting. We're also doing this. It's called Space Cows. What a cool project that is. But again, that's using satellite technology to actually watch migrations of herds of cattle across the top end of Australia, because they're creating havoc on lots of the natural habitat up there as well. So we've got satellite technology there. And Adelaide is where the space area of Australia is kind of based, right? So Adelaide is kind of our space hub, and we've got a space center there. And we're using Azure to connect in via our satellites and other people's satellites to bring cloud computing around the world and use cloud in multiple ways, whether space exploration or through Starlink and all of that kind of stuff. And then also Xbox, right? So think about the fact that consoles are dead, right? You're not going to be going out and buying a PlayStation or an Xbox in a couple of years' time. Too bad for the environment. You're digging up lots of lithium and all kinds of battery and plastic technology that we're putting into that. So that's all going to be running from our data centers in the cloud. You can already run Xbox in the cloud through cloud streaming, right? So you've got to think about where these trends are happening, right, with the different companies. So let's have a look how Sea of Thieves is brought to life here. Let's see if it's going to run. Press play.
Sea of Thieves is a new type of multiplayer game. We call it a shared world game.
It's a cross-play title you can play on PC or on Xbox.
How do we create something that can scale to millions of players and then keep those players engaged over weeks and months and years?
PlayFab multiplayer servers provides a pool of servers. As the number of players throughout a given day increases, we can pull those servers online in a very short period of time. We try to ensure that players have the lowest latency to the servers as possible. So we deploy into 6 data centers around the world.
We don't want to leave you playing on a server on your own. So this is where our server migration technology really comes in, where you can look at the population of other servers and either move your crew from your server or move another crew from their server onto a server together.
The game client and the game server are written in Unreal Engine, and they are both connected to Azure via WebSockets. So we have a live connection between the game and our services. Azure provides a cluster of servers that we host our services on. The services that provide our server matchmaking functionality, our migration functionality, or our commerce functionality.
Having these separate services, this does allow us to update each service independently without affecting the player experience.
We use everything from Azure data factories to richly and speedily combine data, through to the navigation of data through Power BI and Azure Data Explorer. We're beginning to see a new generation of games that you couldn't execute without the cloud. We've got the ability to update the game and keep on adding new content.
This game would not be possible without Azure.
So when you're thinking about games, and you're thinking about this technology, think about what lies behind that, okay? Because there's a lot of people out there, Animal Logic do a lot of stuff, which you might speak to them over lunch. Unreal Engine is a big area that we kind of focus on. So the Unreal Engine develops a lot of games through Xbox and PlayStation and the like, right? So there's a lot of stuff in the background when we think about games, not just the kind of like graphic element. And the AI stuff that's happening at the minute that we're doing with OpenAI, ChatGPT and everything, that's all going to be embedded in the tools you're using, like Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and games, right? So it'll be really interesting to see how that works out. So I'm going to give you a bit of an insight now into a competition that you could enter. Now, from a Microsoft point of view, we've very much focused on using AI for good, right? There's only a couple of companies in the world that actually run AI, right? There's Microsoft, there's Amazon, and there's Google. In our clouds. People then build on top of that, right? So when you're thinking about it, you could do anything with AI, but it's about, just because you can do it, it doesn't mean you should do it. Ethical use of artificial intelligence is really, really important, right? Now, we've got an entire program around this. It's called AI for Good, and that's about the health service, how you can use AI to support, finding cures for new diseases and the like. You can think about preserving languages and culture through speech and language and those cognitive services, supporting people with disabilities and the like, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we are doing around this to support the environment and to support people and society. Now, we've got a competition called Imagine Cup Junior that you can all enter. Right? You can create a team, you can enter it, it's free, and you can actually create an AI solution. You don't have to code it, you can if you want, but you don't have to. You've got to come up with an idea to do something with AI for good. Okay, so I encourage you to enter that with a couple of your friends. Don't forget, you can put the gain, things like this, on your LinkedIn profile, on your CV. You know, make sure you're documenting things you're doing. Even this event today, put it on your CV, say you've come along, you've heard the different companies talking, right? But that's really interesting. But where are we going next? So other areas we're thinking about, using tools and technologies to merge all of the AI and the real world and the AI for good stuff together into what's called the metaverse. So let's have a look at this.
Connection is a spark that gives our lives meaning. It drives us to seek out others who feel the same way.
Okay, why don't you input the data and we'll take a look together. Hey Mari, what you got for me?
To find those who share our views, yet offer different perspectives.
Look over here.
Challenge us with new ways of seeing.
That I think we should.
Deepen our understanding. And enrich our lives.
最后一笔的时候，往前。
Great things happen when we commit to something bigger than ourselves.
Take a closer look at it.
Place this here. Let's see how we go from there, okay?
This sense of collaboration and the feelings of connection it brings excites us.
Hey, just in time. I'm gonna move it slightly, okay?
It's yours, take it.
We have 2 planes right now on the same trajectory.
As we put people first, technology fades into the background and feels like anything but.
Aisha, what do you think?
I think if we had 330, maintaining 2800, we'll be clear for approach.
Excellent.
This changes the way we see the world, and in turn, changes the world we see.
These numbers are looking great, actually.
There's promise in the possibilities, and what we see and create next will stretch the imagination.
Good morning, Sarah.
Morning.
Slowly coming towards the thumb.
A world without boundaries.
Good job. A lot better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Excellent. Slowly bring the
A
arm
world
down.
where technology enhances, not limits, humanity. With people front, center, and in the spotlight. The future is here. And here can be anywhere. Introducing Microsoft Mesh.
So all that stuff there was real, right? It wasn't like a sizzle video or something. That's HoloLens technology in Microsoft Mesh, right? You could probably, if you've been using online learning, you've noticed the Teams connection in there. That's all kind of standard stuff now, right? Which we're utilizing in the medical industry and the like, and you can utilize as well. So it's about trying to connect those things together. The AI that we've talked about all through the day today, the AI that I talked about at the beginning in Australia, coming up with the ideas is the important bit. It's all very well me from Microsoft saying you've got this Azure amazing compute and platform to develop on, but everybody in this room have got ideas on how you can make that go forward and come up with your own ideas. So I challenge you to come up with the next idea and actually think about how you can use AI and the cloud to really develop solutions that change people's lives and get impact. So you might be thinking, yeah, Dan, so what does that mean? How am I supposed to learn about any of this? Well, funny you should say that. Microsoft Learn, learn.microsoft.com. You can go onto that website and you can actually go through there and find your own paths. If you're interested in security, if you're interested in data and AI, if you want to do certifications and actual sit down and you can do proctored exams. So you can sign up to do an exam at your home and then you can actually do the exams online. There's lots of learning paths. You can go up to the top here, go to roles, go to student, and you can see things specifically for you as a student. But you can look at DevOps, you can look at security, you can look at data and analytics if you're interested in that. You can look at gaming and all the gaming information that we talked about earlier on, like the PlayFab engine. If you want to know about how to use AI in games development, for example, all the documentation is there, right? So we're going to go to Q&A in a second, but next steps from you, all right, for you to do is make sure you think about something you're interested in. After today, synthesize all of these people who've spoken to you, think about all of the people and conversations you've had outside, and don't just leave the room and think, okay, that was a good day. Do something, right? Think about what type of careers you might be interested in and what you might want to do to further that. You start to develop your CV, start to develop your own persona, as it were, right? Go on to Microsoft Learn, do it now if you want, and then actually find some courses you might be interested in and create your own pathways. Enter for Imagine Cup Junior if you fancy it, if you fancy doing something with a team of friends, and always reach out, if you're a teacher in the room, always reach out to us in our team in Microsoft. We're always happy to come in and support you all. You've got lots of access to tools. You can get access to Azure for free, Visual Studio Code for free, so just utilize some of those things, right? Adobe, I was talking to Dr. Tim earlier on, you get all the Adobe software for free, get all of that stuff done. Okay, so that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour because you do need some food, but I will open to Q&A with Bing Chat. Yay! How apt is that? So all the teachers in the room going, oh, look, he's talked about ChatGPT. Questions? Douche. When will Microsoft Mesh be readily available? It is available now for enterprise customers. So you can actually go into and get onto the preview of that if you wanted to have a play. Do you mean the HoloLens part of it, the graphics? That's already available. You can buy it. But you can buy it in Microsoft Store. It's a VR headset. And it's also baked into Windows 10. It's been out for about 3 years. But you probably don't know about it because it's like an enterprise tool. A future of which based AI, sorry? So the future of those text-based generative AIs. Yes, so the future of that, this week, I can't say anything about it, but you have to watch Satya Nadella's event on the 16th of March from America. That'll tell you about how we're embedding ChatGPT I've got to be very careful how I say it, but there's a big announcement this Wednesday, Thursday around ChatGPT and how we're embedding that. In my work PC, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, but I've got ChatGPT built into Word and PowerPoint and all of the tools already. So I've seen what's coming, and it's pretty exciting, to be honest with you. But the future is going to be where other people are going to use it, right? So you're going to get other companies thinking about ideas, embedding ChatGPT-based technologies and generative AI, like the image stuff in DALL-E. People like Adobe will start developing that and embedding that into their Adobe products from the Microsoft Cloud. Sorry. Yeah. So the future of the Bing chatbot is we're going to release it out to preview, and then we're going to release it to the world. So if you haven't played with this, sign up for the preview. It's heaps of fun. It's going to disrupt search big time, because if you can type something into search and then get the actual answers. If you say, I'm going on holidays and I want a 5-day itinerary to Italy, and it tells you and gives you some ideas, then it's going to disrupt things like ads and marketing, because the point of Google search or whatever might be, and Bing search, originally was to give you like advertising links, because that's how they get money, right? So it's going to be an interesting area, but it's just going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to be embedded into search more. So you can see it in search as a chat bar if you do the Bing preview at the minute. It's pretty amazing. Sorry. Yeah. You use the Unreal Engine to develop it. All the documentation's online. You can go and say developing for HoloLens, and all of the documentation's online for it. It uses Unreal Engine. It uses hooks and anchors to know spatial awareness. You've got to learn certain other things about how it interacts with the environment, but it's already there, and people are developing with it. We're doing some work with the Department of Defense in the US with it at the minute. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's ethical issues of using AI in everything, because you know, and this is why it's important, and we're trying to become a company that runs on trust with that, because we want people to utilize AI in crime prevention and medicine and the like. There are issues with it, but all the researchers, universities and things like that are all developing genomics research and the like. You've got to be careful with how far you push everything, because it's talking about personal data and personal information. If say we collected your genome and then could identify, you know, areas in it to do with, you know, ill effects or whatever it might be that are coming up in your life, and you can start to do DNA coding with it, then, you know, it becomes really important how we deal with that, because you don't want that data to go to an insurance company who will go, Dan's got a genetic condition and he's going to be ill, therefore we're going to put his premiums up. So you've got to be really careful around health, education, and all of those areas. And it's a really good question there. There's lots of questions here, isn't there? Jeez. Negative uses of AI, yet there's going to be a lot of them. I think that is teachers being scared, to be honest with you, because there's companies like Turnitin who are worried about their business model, so they go, we're going to get a ChatGPT plagiarism tool. That's not the issue with ChatGPT. What the issue with ChatGPT is that schools and universities have to change the way they are pedagogically teaching to assess students, which is a good thing. Because the way we do it, and I can say this as an ex-teacher, the way we do it at the minute is really rubbish. Assessment's something that gets on every teacher's nerves in the world, and you know, tests and things like that are a nightmare. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a big swell to push people out to standardized testing. But that's me getting on to, we should do a teacher conference over here and talk about AI and teaching and learning. But good question, and I'm being a little bit facetious because I think people are worried about it a bit more, but I've told my kids to do all their assignments in ChatGPT and see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? They get kicked out of school. Anyway, never mind. I'm being facetious again. What's next? Go, like with the guys over here. Yeah, go on. Yeah, I think it will. Yeah, I think generative AI will become part of everyday life because it's going to be embedded into everything. So it's going to be embedded Xbox, internet browsing, and everything like that. You know, all of the Office suite, Google. How people are going to monetize it? Well, they've got to monetize it somehow. How are we going to monetize ChatGPT? He just asked about there. So when a company will utilize ChatGPT, they have to pay for Microsoft Azure services to run it. So it's not going to be free for them to do. So they're going to have to think about how they'd monetize it. So they might monetize it, for example, saying you get 20 turns of ChatGPT, like Midjourney, for example, you get a certain amount of turns to generate pictures in that generative AI process, and then you actually got to pay. So Midjourney already monetizes. So it's a good question. I think people will start to be a bit innovative around that. Well, that's a really good question. What we've done, we've put it in, you talk about the ethics of the Bing chat. We've got it in preview at the minute, and we have to monitor it really, really highly because people always push these tools to the end. We created a bot in 2014, I think. We released it. It was called Tae, T-A-E. Look for it online, and it actually turned racist because people were putting really bad things into it. And that's what journalists are doing at the minute. They put things in to try to push the boundaries with it. So we've got what's called Prometheus model in Bing, which actually shows you how it's thinking as it goes through, and it'll actually change and monitor what its responses are. So that's how that's quite different to ChatGPT. There's lots of questions here today. Go on. Who motivated me to be who I am? I suppose my teachers motivated me. You know, the best motivators in your life. I had a woodworking teacher who was amazing, and he kind of just let me go and just have fun with my lessons. So it was my teachers, I think, inspired me. Sorry, guys at the back. 1 minute to go. Go on. Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know. We've developed HoloLens 2. We've got HoloLens 3 in there. You'll see some more in Windows 12 when that comes out, but it's already baked into the Windows 11 kernel. So if you if you've got a Windows device, if you're lucky enough to have a Windows device, yay, you can type in mixed reality and you can get those experiences already. So it's going to be embedded inside Windows is where that's going to go. But it's like Xbox. We create the platform and we want everybody in this room to make millions of dollars on top of it and solve the world's problems with the platforms that we create. So, if you've got an idea, run with it. Go on, yeah. Yeah, there are. We do kind of like, we come out to schools. We can kind of support you in that way. In terms of working with it, there's not a fixed internship, but we have an internship from university, so we can kind of connect the dots there with the university stuff. We are going to get people coming in a second. What I'd suggest was go on to Microsoft learn some of the stuff, put it on your CV, put it on your LinkedIn, and then start to kind of, just apply for some roles and things. Somebody's really excited to ask a question there while people are coming in. Go on, sorry, mate. How do we give people access for satellite technology? Well, the Starlink is obviously in place. That's not our technology. But do you mean, in terms of like connectivity, like in the outback and stuff like that, or? Yeah. Well, that's in one of the slides there a little bit earlier, which is a planetary computer. So we're saving lots of imagery from the satellite technology to use and share with people, so you can utilize that. And the entire Bing map stuff is all available in API form, so you can utilize that. Yes, it's all open. Yeah. Yeah, we don't lock anything down. There's no age restrictions to use any of our developer stuff. You could be 12 and make amazing stuff. You could be 10 and make amazing stuff. You could be 3 and no, maybe not 3. Maybe not even 10, because my daughter's 10 and she's rubbish at everything apart from Roblox and Minecraft. If there was a job in Roblox, she'd be brilliant. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Sorry, lots of people got questions. I'm sorry. You can send me the question on Twitter if you want. See you, team. Have food, or you might end up getting ill.